I'm not typically one to say I told you so, but damn it people, I told you so! A few months ago I warned you about this movie, and I said that I had trepidations about this movie coming out, because I'm sick and tired of seeing old cartoons and video games, and now toys, being made into full-length movies. And the results are typically less than decent. This film isn't completely terrible, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna bash this film away, but it does have some pretty big problems. But first, let me give you a brief summary to the plot of this film. Early on, we're introduced to these two main characters, played by Channing Tatum and Marlon Wayans. They are working for NATO, and they are transporting some warheads across a particular area. All of a sudden, as they're transporting these warheads, they're attacked by Cobra, which is of course the main villain in the G.I. Joe universe. They try to steal these warheads, but somewhere, out of the blue, the G.I. Joe force arrives, and saves these warheads from being stolen. So Duke and Ripcord are of course thankful, but they're not going to leave these warheads to people they've never met before. So they get to the G.I. Joe base, they transport the warheads there, and the G.I. Joes say, well, yeah, you failed your mission, but you know what? You seem like you're pretty good fighters, you seem like you're decent, you seem like you're good soldiers, why don't you join our force? And then Channing Tatum catches a girl in his arms, and then Marlon Wayans is chased around by a guy in the Scary Movie mask, and then, you know what? No, I'm sorry. That would only be slightly more ridiculous than the plot of this film. This plot is god awful, and I mean really bad, people. Not to mention the fact that nearly every member of this cast did a piss-poor job with the part they were assigned. I thought the one highlight of this film may be Dennis Quaid, but in many ways he's the worst. He is hamming up this part so bad. I couldn't believe what he was doing. And I've enjoyed Dennis Quaid in the past, and he was just friggin' terrible in this movie. But before I continue, there are a couple of good things that come out of this film. First and foremost, the action scenes in this film are actually pretty fun. A couple of them are a bit too long and they're just drug on, but there are a couple of action scenes in the middle of this film, particularly the chase scene in the middle, which are so much fun to watch, and I really enjoyed them. Also, I don't know what was up with the special effects in this film, but they were really good at times and really bad at times. That's what confused me. Some of the special effects in the film actually really impressed me. For example, the accelerator suits, which if anyone has seen the commercials for this film, you've probably seen these suits. It basically makes the G.I. Joes faster, stronger, better than they were before, blah blah blah. And when these guys are running around in these suits, it actually is fun to watch. But my big criticism of those suits is, I am wondering if Hasbro or Paramount is paying royalties to Bungie. I say that because there is no way Hasbro or Paramount did not design these suits and didn't have Master Chief from Halo in mind. These guys completely rip off of Halo in this film, and the suits look straight out of the Halo series. But I digress. As I said, the special effects are good at parts, but then at other times they are friggin' terrible. They got these planes and these helicopters flying overhead, and I sat there and I said aloud in the theater, that is the dumbest looking helicopter I've seen. It was that fake. It looked like a toy. Now maybe that was the purpose, because obviously Hasbro is going to go out and try and market toys after this movie, so they make all the helicopters and planes look like toys. Go figure. If there is one good thing I can say, is that you will never be bored with this film. If you go in just expecting action, you will get action. You will never be bored with this movie. However, as I've said in past reviews, all of the action in the world can't make up for a terrible plot. And that's what this movie does. It tries to throw in great action scenes, which it does, but it doesn't compensate for a lack of dialogue, for a lack of plot, for a lack of acting, for a lack of good special effects. It does none of them. But if nothing else, this film did allow me to see Sienna Miller and Rachel Nichols in skin-tight clothes the whole film. Oh. What? Sorry. So, final rating. This is not the dumbest film of the year, but it's pretty friggin' close. I'm gonna put it just above the dumb factor of Dragon Ball Evolution and Transformers 2. Because I thought the plots of those films were just a bit worse than this one. But again, the plot is terrible, the dialogue is atrocious, the acting is pretty piss poor, and the special effects are back and forth the whole film between being good and being disgusting. However, this film did have a couple of good things going for it. It had very good action scenes. So if nothing else, this would be at least a decent film for dads to take their sons to and say, hey, this is what I grew up with, even though it's been completely changed from what the fathers have seen from when they were kids. So I'm going to give this movie 2 stars. With all the ranting and raving I've done, you'd think I'd give it lower than that, but I did enjoy the parts where the action was going on, and I was never bored with this movie, so I can give it that. However, if you put an ounce of thought into any scene in this film, I guarantee you will not enjoy it. So if you want to go out and see it, fine. You may enjoy it, but turn off your brain before you go in. And now you know. And knowing is half the ball. Damn. Take care.